Hey, that's really bad. Terrible even. 109 to 73. The Raptors lose to the Miami Heat in what was, I don't know, a hapless game. Maybe we get the drop this time. Feckless basketball, man. Ooh, is a tough one. A little late to the stream because I had to, I guess, test out the microphone to see if it was working because of I guess after the second game, it was a bit odd. Sounded like I was recording from a fish tank or something at times. However, I'm confident that we are now in a good recording space. The equipment is working properly. I'm Samson Folk. This is the Reaction Podcast. I haven't said that in a long time, maybe since the change to live streaming. Ochai, 2 points in this game, 0 for 5 from the field. Uh, I had a humble ask before the game, and that was that Jacoby would go north of 15 points. He did. He scored 16 points on 11 shots from the field. He went 3-7 from downtown. This was his best game of Summer League. I don't know if you could say that for anybody, any other single Raptor on the roster. Even Jamal Shed, mayor of good behavior. This guy who picked up trash when nobody else would, who's been the consummate pro, the consummate collegiate athlete, the student athlete of the year. This guy hit Swider in the nuts while he was shooting and got ejected. That's how crazy this game was. Well, I guess it doesn't get, that's not that crazy. It's just not inspiring. If you're a Heat fan, you probably come away from that being like, hell yeah, we're 4-0, going to the playoffs, beat the brakes off of them. Khalil Ware looks awesome, man. And maybe he looks just better because there's not much of a front line that the Raptors have going on now. It would have been cool to see, not that Mobo is the Ware stop or anything, but it would have been cool to see him. Alanis Williams was good. Josh Christopher was good. Pelt Larson was good. I mean, Swider was good. They have a good summer league team, and they beat the Raps thoroughly. Like they were down by 40 in the first half. 40 points in the first half. It's not hard because these are good players and it's easy to fall behind when things are going well, but you lose the opening frame 32-7. You're down 40, and these are only 10-minute quarters. You're down so quick. You can't score the ball. Like, man, Trash Clip says, I watched all 82 games last season and I couldn't finish this game. Woof. Yeah, that it's tough, man. This was this was a tough game. Cosmo says, man, the big man depth on this team is so bad. People can harp on the Jakob trade, but he's the only functional true center on this team. That's agreed. I've said now, the Jakob trade at the time, I recorded at like 3 a.m. in the morning because that's when it happened. Put out the work. At that point in time, I thought that the Raptors overpaid, and I was like, this isn't a great trade, and I don't know if they're good enough to make this trade, to go for it. I think all those things were true and bore out as true. However, what you're saying is correct, and it's why I defend Jakob's place on the roster now that he's already here. He helps facilitate good basketball and good possessions on both sides of the floor. The Raptors, if they didn't have Jakob, I don't know what the hell is going on that front court. I have no idea what the hell is going on in that front court. And Jakob has 20. I mean, Hartenstein just signed for 29. I think Jakob's a better player than Hartenstein. There we go. Easy peasy. You have a solid center on your roster, but that's not really summer league. But you make a good point, Cosmo. Jakob, he's important for the Raptors to actually play good basketball. That isn't just like, what the hell is going on here? And we saw that towards the end of the season because once Jakob got hurt and Scotty got hurt, it was like, what the hell is going on, man? Leo gets, good question. Who would you rather have, Isaiah Collier at 29 or Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji long term? So there's a nerdy answer to this, and there's like a fast answer. I'll give the fast answer. I'll take Kelly and Ochai, I guess. But at 29, because it could have been anybody else. I think I'd take 29 normally, but Kelly and Ochai is fine. But Kelly, at the end of the contract, it might be like, damn, we pay this guy, quite a bit of money. I know it's just like mid-level exception type money, but I guess we'll see. It's pretty even. It could go either way. I don't think it's a home run either way, but yeah. Did Collier have like a really good game recently or something? That might That might be something interesting. Aubrey Losoho says, "Go watch some Kyle Lowry highlights, chat." Oh, they always hit the spot. You know what I mean? Full ass, great name. Says I couldn't watch the game, but I checked the box score and I thought I put in the Argos game until I realized they're not playing tonight. It was tough. Let's talk about the game a little bit. Okay, so the Raptors had a very difficult time against Josh Christopher, Stevens, Swider, and Larson digging down, and Khalil Ware kind of operating and patrolling the paint. The first 5 attempts the Raptors took were from 3. They missed all of them. They had very little success getting anything going on the inside. Brandon Carlson eventually later on in the game caught a pocket pass, one dribble, punch the dunk in the lane in the pick and roll. That's nice. But for the most part, the Raptors were operating on the periphery. You know, how many threes did they make in this game? I think like, oh geez, 16 threes in this game. Sorry, 11. The box score was all buggy. So sorry. 11 threes in this game. So almost half their points came from the 3-point line. They attempted 39 of them. They shot 28%. It's they were locked out of the paint. And Alondas Williams also, like he was coming off the bench for the Heat. He's a good defensive guard. Now I don't know about at the NBA level, but here and in college, like at Wake Forest, like he made quite an impact there. And yeah, that's kind of where we're sitting at. The Raptors, whether it's DJ Carton, who struggled a little bit, but overall had an okay game, I thought. But he definitely like a couple turnovers where he had to pick up the ball too quickly, tried to spray to the corner, but the defense read him completely and went and intercepted his pass, where he's not reading the floor exceptionally well. That kind of stuff that happened for DJ, but DJ at least he has the handle, the quickness for sure. He got the spots on the floor, got into the lane more than anybody else, I think. Like even Jacoby, I really like the one closeout he attacked that he got to the line big time was that like pump, put the ball on the ground, get the inside track, jump stop into the lane. His defender comes and gets too high up on his hip. You know, you draw the foul that way. Great job, great craft getting to the line. That was nice. But he was still mostly in this game. Like 9 of his 16 points come from the 3-point line. And God bless, he's a shooter. He's supposed to shoot. But he wasn't giving the Raptors the rim pressure on his own. Ochai had a few fledgling attempts to try and get into the paint. Obviously, that didn't go well at all. Jameson Battle, again, like all of his points came from the 3-point line. All of them came from the 3-point line. And he's a good shooter, so God bless. But whether it's Jamal, who scored 0 points, 0 for 4, Ochai, 0 for 5, and like look at the rest. It's like Carlson, Walter, and Battle are the other guys in that starting lineup. They're Walter is a slight rookie who it would be awesome if he came into summer league and dominated, but that's not the case. You know, Battle, that's not going to be the case. Carlson, that's not going to be the case. Ochai is heading into his 3rd year, and you know, like he's 24. He played 4 years of college. You got to bring something, man. He just didn't. And Carlson had a decent enough game. It's not like he had a tough front court across from him that gave him trouble. 2 rebounds is inexcusable in some sense, but yeah, it's you know, it is it is what it is. A lot of people in chat lamenting Ochai. Ochai, he at camp because he's guaranteed he's on a lottery salary. He'll be on the team. Like he's on a lottery pick salary. He'll be on the team. It's guaranteed. Um so yeah, he'll be there. You just got to cross your fingers that it comes around. But the jump shot mechanics look inconsistent. There's no pop off the dribble. And whether that's a directive from on high that they're like, hey, Ochai, other guys are supposed to be kind of creating now, maybe relax a little bit. Because back when he played with Utah, he had better summer league games. I'm just not sure what's going on because he's had stretches where he's been passable as an NBA player. And just what we've seen since coming to the Raptors is just completely untenable. Cannot be defended. Makes very little sense for him to get all of this kind of stuff. So he's in a tough spot. He was an unbelievable shooter coming out of the draft. That was one of the biggest things. He was in contention for the best basketball player in college that season, and he can guard. seems like an easy enough pathway to being an NBA player, a rotation player on a playoff team. Nope, just completely just bereft, devoid of anything meaningful happening on the court. Jamal Shed, I was lower on Jamal than some. I expected a lot of 905. After summer league, I still do a lot of 905, but I think that's a good thing, and I expect him to continue to work at it, his craft as a point guard, trying to set other guys up. I expect him to keep getting after it, and I think he'll be good for the 905 this year. Javon, Javon scores a little bit, went 2 for 10. That's kind of what Javon just gets shots up, man. Like the one game he was great, hit a lot of shots, and this game not so much. Other games he was okay. The other game, like 2 out of the 4 games, one game out of the 4 was really good. One game was like, oh, okay, and the other 2 were just bad. And that's kind of like this roster. Once Mobo and once Grady left, not good. I wonder what it would have looked like. Not that Drew Timmy is like the paragon of success or anything like that, but geez, I do wonder, Drew Timmy, if it would have been nice to have another post hub to throw the ball down to at Summer League before obviously he went to the Kings. But I guess Fardaws was also on the roster before he got released. And then I made a joke on Twitter that it was because he was retweeting Sneeko. And then people were like, really? And I was like, no, it's a joke, obviously. But if you're in the NBA, a shout out to all NBA players, just like a note, do not retweet Sneeko. It's not going to look good for you. God bless. This is a bad team. We watched them lose bad. And now we just kind of like, you got to pick yourself up again. You got to try and find the good things. And the good things is that Jacoby hit shots. The good thing is that Jacoby wiggled into the lane a few times. That is what we want to see. That's good. That's exciting. And it makes me feel better about him a little bit. Not that I needed to be swung one way or the other, but I was pretty happy about Jacoby at the time of the draft. Like, good. I looked a little bit at his game. I thought that he had more boom or bust to his profile or his film than some of the other wingy or guard prospects that I saw kind of in that realm. But I think I see enough to kind of like, okay, there's a floor here. He has to put on weight. But the Raptors, I think you look at their depth chart and you can see it's outside of Scotty being unbelievable, which is always on the table. Scotty's a special player. But Scotty, to get this team to a meaningful spot, would really have to drag this roster a long way, in my opinion. And so when you look at guys like Jacoby, who has to put on weight, but has a lot in his bag, he looks like he could be a special shot maker someday. You hope for that. And a guy who can chop his feet on defense and slide with guys, you hope for that. That's great. Grady, he's a much different prospect than Jacoby, but it's also about putting on weight, rounding out his game, looking ahead a couple years maybe to when these guys pop off. Shamshay could be the same thing. It could be that like the version of the Raptors that competes and looks good is one that, of course, still includes Scotty. Of course, still includes Scotty, but the pieces around him might be radically different than what they currently are. And those pieces could include Jacoby and Grady, but they might not include a guy like Emmanuel. It might not include a guy like RJ. I don't know. There's a long way to go with his team, and things really, really have to kind of like pad out. And then obviously everybody's looking for more information, more film, more data to make, informed decisions. That's what we're going to see. WYSO says BBQ plus Pirtle is a really solid starting 4 for this season, but we don't have a clear 5th starter at all. The reason why they don't have a clear 5th starter is because BBQ is solid, but it's insanely expensive for what it is. And like, it's insanely expensive for what it is. Jakob gets 20. Emmanuel makes 35 this season. Scotty will be on, I think, 10.8 this season, but that goes up quickly. RJ will be around 26. And, God bless, these guys went and they bargained for these contracts. Go get as much money as you possibly can. But from the Raptors' perspective, like that's a lot of money to guys who have not proven that they can win, and that's a lot of money that makes it hard to like spread it out over the roster, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's why we're seeing gambles on Davion Mitchell. That's why we're seeing gambles like Shamshay. That's why we're seeing these second round flyers that they're taking on, where they just want to allow guys to build. And we'll see. Ian McKay says Brown on 23 doesn't help LMAO. That's correct. And Slomo says the cap isn't going down. Of course. Like, of course. But the cap keeps going up, and it's still like a lot of money for what it is. No ifs, ands, or buts. Like even for I think the first year of Scotty's deal, the cap goes up for 2025-26, and Scotty and Emmanuel will combine for 47% of the cap. The cap's going up, but these are big contracts. That's what it is, 47 or 46%. So it's like the Raptors. There's so much road ahead for guys to develop in unique ways that allow the team to think about, okay, we can change how we build going forward based on what kind of talents emerge. The Raptors, like Messiah said, Scotty developed in a way that he didn't foresee. That unique and, great development allows them to kind of sidestep into something new, try something different, and they should be able to do stuff like that going forward. All the best front offices, it's not that you win every decision you make, it's that you sidestep and you adjust when it becomes prudent to do so. And I guess we'll see. Ochai was a swing. We'll see if it's a swing that kind of shakes out. Kelly wasn't a swing, but he's a guy who's supposed to help establish their floor. So is Pirtle, so that these guys can develop and play like meaningful basketball. And not meaningful as in like they're playing playoff games, but meaningful as in like they're playing the right way. They have skilled bigs who should be able to help facilitate the right play and the type of play that even if Jakob isn't on the team in like 2027 or something like that, having played with Jakob kind of builds Scotty up to understand tendencies and styles that he can play with other bigs, like all that kind of stuff. Amorelos also says Raptors front office better send Kyle and DeMar random gifts every so often. They really did establish like an unbelievable identity and floor of success. Those guys they delivered not a championship, of course Kyle did, but that tandem, they they are underrated to me still, probably. And watching that Raptors team, that Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan led team, I know they didn't do anything crazy. The farthest they got was 2 wins in the Eastern Conference Finals. All the while LeBron faking drinking beer, etc. But, or I guess, was that another? I think that was another. That was a different playoff series. But the players, really good players, make it way easier to team build. If you don't have good players, you're in a really tough spot. And Scotty simplifies everything. And the Raptors just have to get the pieces around him right. I can't remember who commented, but they said RJ looked great against France today. RJ was insanely efficient on offense last season as a Raptor. I can't even conceptualize how it could have been better for RJ on offense. The tough thing is like the defense is not good, and you have to figure out how all of that works. Slomo says DeMar trade was the best thing the Raptors ever did. It was an incredible trade. I was working landscaping at that point in time. I was driving to the job site because it happened at like 6 or 7 a.m. in the morning that it got announced, I think. And I was listening, and I was like, they didn't give up Pascal or OG, and they got Danny Green. I was like, what the hell? Kawhi Leonard? And then Chris Haynes, of course, came and was like, he's not even going to show up. And I was like, damn, that's a bummer. But then he did. And then they won a chip. That's a sidestep. That is a sidestep, baby. Ooh, sidestep. That's a euro. That is team building euro to trade DeMar for Kawhi and Danny Green. Ooh, baby. Yeah, that was awesome. If everybody's probably noticing, I don't really want to talk about this game. I've talked about the game. It didn't go well. Yeah. That's Aubrey Los Ojos brings up something interesting. Says, remember the great Warriors front office wanted to trade Steph for Bogut and Clay for Kevin Love. It's so much about luck and mitigating bad decisions more than hits. Agreed. And also, Kyle was rumored to the Grizzlies. It wasn't just the Gasol Valanciunas swap. The framework included Kyle for Conley. The year they won the chip. They tried to trade Kyle multiple occasions. And they had one of the best point guards of his era sitting there, and they almost offloaded him multiple times. You got to be lucky. Someone says DeMar didn't build anything. He played well, but wasn't good enough. I really disagree with that. The testimonials from guys who played with DeMar, whether it's the young guys that he was the mentor for or anybody around him, was that he informed culture a great deal, and he was a major part of the Raptors franchise. Now, of course, DeMar is not Kawhi Leonard, but I'm not going to give him shit for not being Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard went and won the Finals MVP. Kawhi was he was considered like a top 3 player in the world. So DeMar was really good after the Raptors trade. Like he was really great maybe really great is overselling it. He really padded out his playmaking in San Antonio. He was way better than people thought when he was in Chicago. He'll probably fit easier in Sacramento than people think. He's such a consummate pro. He's kind of always around all-star status. That's not something to take for granted, I don't think. However, he's not Finals MVP Kawhi Leonard, but I don't want to punish him for that. I think I'd rather celebrate Kawhi than blame DeMar for not being Kawhi. I think DeMar was awesome. I think he was a huge part of the Raptors building that up. GPWW says, I had to work. Was it really that bad? It was really that bad. I'll sum it up quickly. They were down by 40 in the first half. Jamal shed, everybody's sweet man. It's like hit a guy in the dick and got tossed out. Slow-mo, this is the last one I'll respond to, since I maybe you're trolling. You say B-ball isn't as hard as some like to make it. At least one top 5 player, or you don't win anything. That doesn't mean it's not hard. That means it's exceptionally hard. It's exceptionally hard because, yeah, like your top end has to be exceptional. So I wouldn't blame DeMar or anything like that for not being a top 5 player. He helped keep them afloat in a really dominant space, helped create the culture, was part of the progression of certain players who ended up playing bigger roles once Kawhi was there. And yeah, good. Yeah. Van Hoot 2234 says, was it the Frank or the beans? It might have been both. He went in there with both hands. Like it almost looked like he cupped it, you know? Somo says, did DeMar pay your rent? Not an ounce, man. I wish. Wouldn't that be so cool if like you advocated for a player and you actually got paid by them? Crazy. That would be so nuts. Like a propaganda wing. A player propaganda wing would be that already exists, I feel like, but people don't get paid. Like there's like a huge network of Muse accounts, right? And they're just like it's like kids, I think, who are just like, I love this player and I want to be Scotty Barnes' muse. And I just want to post about Scotty Barnes like so much. And yeah, but they don't get paid. Like there's no money in it. Yeah, it's interesting world sports commentary, whether it's like the professionals and in quotations professionals, or the fandom, and that they all kind of fester in the same space. Twitter, it makes for odd interactions and unique juxtapositions, I think. But yeah. WYSO says, despite JFL being probably the best player for this summer league team so far, I can't see his fit for the Raptors when we already have like 3 shooting guards locked in. Yeah, it's tough to see his future with the Raptors, despite him being, I think, a player who can contend for an NBA spot, not like a rotation spot, I don't think, but he can contend for a spot on an NBA team. just the same way he did on the Raptors. And the Raptors were a lot less intentional about what their backcourt looked like last season. Like Malachi Flynn was getting regular minutes, and they tried to rehabilitate like his value, image, game, etc., etc. And so there was room for JFL to kind of like walk into minutes, and then there was injuries, and then JFL gets a really long look because they bring in DJ Carton, who they want to get a look at, but he gets injured, so JFL gets an even longer look, and then he signs a different type of contract. Um, it's he had a long look at it for his skill level, I think. And I like JFL, and I think he can score the ball at an NBA level. But when you're a guard, you have to score it not just at an NBA level, but you got to score it like at an insane level and have a bit of playmaking. And I don't know if he meets that same level for minutes, but he's a work in progress, as are many of these players. And the Raptors are being a little bit more intentional about how they view that backcourt. And Davion Mitchell is going to get minutes because, of course, he will, because he brings like real elite level on ball defense. He's very sticky. They're going to want to see if they can kind of like, oh, he looks better now. Maybe this is a guy who a team, whether he stays on with the Raptors on a friendly contract after his rookie deal is up, or whether, there's a team that wants more punch at the point of attack and he proves that he can facilitate and hit some catch and shoot threes. I don't know, but that's probably the calculus that the Raptors are working with. And, Jacoby is going to get minutes. Grady is going to get minutes. Emmanuel is going to get minutes. RJ is going to get minutes. It's just there's less room in that backcourt than there used to be. Cosmo says Davion Mitchell is a better offensive player than Shed. Yeah, agreed. And I do, yeah. And if he wasn't, that would be a real shame, because Davion was a lottery pick and he played a lot of college and he's been in the league. This is, some years. This is year 4 for him, right? So, yeah, I think it'd be pretty disappointing if he wasn't better than Shed offensively. However, I'm excited to see Shed try and work his way into a higher level of offense, and he'll get to do so with the 905, maybe some games with the Raptors, and we'll see how all that shakes out. DJ Carton, I think, still has an outside shot at the Raptors. I like his game, and I think even though JFL had the best run of the summer league guys, I think that Carton is currently the best guard on the roster. Maybe that's a little bit too unfriendly to JFL. Maybe that's a little bit too friendly to Carton, but I do feel that way. Now I'm just a schlub. We're all just a bunch of schlubs watching basketball, but I think that is my takeaway. We'll see what happens. Do you know anything about the alleged rebrand? GPWW says. Yeah, like it's already there. They've already started branding things differently, right? Like you could look at this, even the Twitter account when they tweet out all of their summer league stuff. It's not red and black. Like all of their branding used to be red and black because that was what they did. Now all of their branding is purple and red. When I went to the announcement for Emmanuel and Scotty signing their extensions, there's a lot of purple, lots and lots of purple. And I asked Scotty about it, and he was like, "Do you know something I don't know?" And I was like, "Okay." I thought maybe he was gonna say something, maybe interesting, but the players might not know. Van Hoot 2234 says the claw looks different subtly. I didn't pick that up. Interesting. They haven't changed the logo, just like in how they're utilizing the logo, but I guess maybe. Yeah, anything is in play, but something is coming. I can't like sketch it for you and be like, this is what it's gonna be. But yeah. WYSO says, I wish we had gotten to see some more Mobo. Me too. And I really wish we had gotten to see him play like as a power forward instead of as a wing. I thought he was put in such a tough situation in summer league, was put in really awkward situations, and I mean, we just didn't really get to see it, which is too bad. He was put in tough positions that he hasn't really played, and then he got injured. So hopefully they are able to make use of him, allow him to grow. He has a unique skill set. I think he's a unique player. Really intriguing handle, especially in the open court. This is something Josh and I will talk about when we do his film breakdown. But, yeah, that's too bad about Mobo. It's too bad about Mobo and Grady, but I guess that's life, you know? Hopefully, they enjoy their summer, they get some work in, do their thing, but August is kind of the dog days of the, I guess, NBA offseason, and we should see some players on vacation. God bless them. I hope they enjoy the time off. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, I think, with the podcast. I don't think I'll be doing a podcast with like a guest to recap Summer League. I think I'm going to move directly into the film breakdowns. I think I'm recording on Monday with Ben Pfeiffer, the Shamshay film breakdown. We'll try and do a nice scouting report on him. Then Josh and I will be doing Jonathan Mobo. And then I think I'll be doing Jacoby Walter with Mavs draft. And I still have to find somebody for Jamal Shed. However, that's all in the future. Van Hoot 2234 says, "Did you see Team Canada?" Not yet, and I'm not sure what my I'm not sure I'll have any tangible coverage for Team Canada um, during these like just scrimmages type deals, these prep games. However, I'll have to talk to Alex about it because Alex will be in Paris covering the Team Canada for Raptors Republic, which is really exciting and like really cool for Alex, and God bless. But I'll see what type of additional coverage I'll be able to provide for Team Canada. There'll be something at the very least. But yeah. Um Slomo says, "Wonder if Celtics fans care about New Jerseys." Yeah. I mean, when your team's not good, the peripheral stuff becomes more important. Obviously. But every team cares about jerseys. Jerseys are cool, you know? Like it's what the team wears. It's everything. If you have a good jersey, it helps sell things. So, yeah. Um but I actually, yeah, to your question, Van Hoot 2234. I didn't see the game from today. But yeah, them's the breaks. Okay, everybody. Like the video before you get out here. It helps spread it out to other people afterwards. Thanks for tuning in. More work from myself coming soon. YWSO or WYSO says, "I can't wait to get a purple quickie jersey." Yeah, man. That's cool. I love a purple jersey. I think it would look cool. All right. Thanks everybody in the chat for always being engaging, thoughtful, and thought provoking and kind. Always a pleasure. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your night. Thanks for stopping in. Okay. When you got into this in the morning or at night, have a blessed day and goodbye.